Yeah, so I think we'll start with the wides. So I have the shot list here. So
do we need your mom for this?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
You are being recorded, right?
I have there?
You know, Caleb, you know you were telling me the other night that you're really good at like making moms like you?
I am.
He's gonna hear about this.
Okay.
Sorry for the delay on this video. I just got back from the Christian Worldview Film Festival in Albany, Georgia. I drove down there with my cousin and a friend of mine, and yeah, just got back from that, so I've been kind of tying up loose ends and getting back in the swing of things. It's been crazy. That was a really cool experience. If you're a Christian and into filmmaking, yeah, check it out. I'll leave it in the description. On to the video. So I want to do a behind the scenes of the Canadian border crossing disaster of a short film. If you've seen it, I'm sorry. But today I'm gonna give you a breakdown of how we got from no film to a finished 3-minute short film, I guess you could call it. And all the steps in between. The way this film came about is I was on a Discord call hanging out with some friends of mine, and we were like, hey, it'd be fun if we collaborated together and made a short film. Our goal was just to make something together, and it ended up being a pretty silly thing by the end, but we learned a ton and it was really a great experience. For the writing of the film, we tried to do that together from the beginning, which was pretty rough. We could come up with lots of good ideas, but no one was in charge. That was the problem. Nobody was really in charge of the writing process. And so we had lots of interesting, funny ideas, but nobody was there to make the final decision on those. And so it took us a really long time to really stick with an idea. But basically, we had all these different ideas brainstormed, but none of them were really compatible. And we thought, oh, this is actually really funny, just our brainstorming session here that isn't really going well. This would be funny to watch. So we ended up picking that as the idea for our story. The film is about some friends brainstorming a short film. We decided to go for a comedy because it seems like comedy is a lot easier to pull off than some other genres, like drama, for instance. Once we had the script, I made a shot list, and I also storyboarded part of the RV scene just to block out where my camera and actors were gonna be, which ended up coming in really handy later on. As far as the production was concerned, it took us a long time to pick a time to do it. It was always inconvenient, and eventually we were just like, we have to shoot this film. So we just ended up making it happen on a weekend that was very, very cold and very uncomfortable. So everyone has left. It's 15 degrees outside now, which is nice. So it's probably a little bit warmer than that in here. I think it was probably a mistake to try to shoot this time of year out here in the RV, because there's no heat except for this little heater thing down here, and yeah, I'm not sure if they're gonna come back. I would not recommend shooting outside in an RV that you can't keep heated when it's like 8 degrees to 30 degrees was about what we were working with for a temperature fluctuation. So yeah, I would not recommend shooting in those conditions unless you have planned ahead and have some ways of keeping people warm. Like Sam got hypothermia the first day, and that kind of set him back for the rest of the week. Not ideal, suboptimal. One of the things that was really, really helpful, that did go well, was having the shot list all figured out. So I had every shot that I wanted listed out. I had all of my wide shots.
So do we need your mom for this?
Close-ups, doubles. I think I ended up having like 5 different camera setups, and I knew which ones that I needed most. So I was able to prioritize, which was really important because we ran out of time and we weren't able to shoot everything that we wanted to. That was really handy. I ended up ditching a lot of my single shots because we didn't have time to shoot them. And so make your shot list and prioritize what you actually need to have done, because probably you will run out of time at some point for something and you're gonna have to compromise. If I hadn't done a shot list, I would have been in trouble. Pre-production, you will thank yourself. We ended up switching the audio setup pretty early on. First we had a boom mic, and that was working okay, but it was a little bit slow, and we realized that we needed to be able to just crank. So We ditched the boom mic and just put the microphone on the camera, which I do not recommend for normal situations. However, in our case, the camera was about 3 feet away from the actors most of the time anyway, so it worked out okay. It didn't sound like absolute garbage. Could have been a lot better, but we were working with what we had. My sister Faith was amazing and brought us like cookies and hot chocolate and kept us from freezing. I didn't really necessarily designate her to do that. She just was like, these poor idiots trying to film outside. So if you are shooting in an environment that's very uncomfortable, I would recommend trying to put somebody on that role, just kind of the comfort person who's watching people and making sure they have what they need to stay warm if it's cold outside, or just safe in general. It's no fun working when you're terribly uncomfortable. So at any rate, if you have a spare person who's maybe not even really interested in filmmaking, but is good at making people comfortable, good at reading people, that could be a really helpful thing to have on your set. All right, it has been a while since I looked at this project, so I just recorded a whole walkthrough of the edit and then realized that I basically forgot everything about how this went together, so I'm starting over. This was pretty simple to put together. Because we ran out of time shooting, I didn't really have a lot of extra coverage to have to decide what shots I was going to use. Basically, I had this wide angle of me coming in. I don't even think I had the entire scene covered from this angle. And then I had this shot of all of my lines when I'm standing there. And then just these doubles of Caleb and Sam. I think I got a couple singles of Caleb, but we didn't even finish those. And I ended up not needing more coverage. So I just used what I had and it worked. It wasn't the best, but you know, it did the job. So as far as the edit goes, it's pretty basic. A couple of J cuts, but like nothing really crazy. In the way that it's put together, there's no music in most of the film. Joshua's portion has some score that he added. I tried adding some music in and it just wasn't working. So I was like, you know what, we'll just go no music, it'll be fine. And I think it still works without the music. So comment below if you think otherwise. One weird thing with the edit, this part right here.
I know a guy. He can do it in post.
But I feel obligated to at least burn one down.
Yeah, that line, but I feel obligated to at least burn one down. This is the only shot that we had of that line. And so this was that wide shot that I cropped into because we were shooting in 4K. I think it works, so he says that line.
But I feel obligated to at least burn one down. Oh, also, remember, add the scene with the arm getting chewed off with the rabbit chihuahua.
So like this is one day and both of these are a different day, also at 2 different times, I think. So it's a little bit disjointed, but like this was the only coverage that we had for this scene and I didn't want to have to try to reshoot something. I don't know if you guys noticed that being weird in that portion. I'd be interested to hear feedback on that in the comments. As far as the edit, that's pretty much it. There was a little bit of visual effects work in this short film. Not to burn a forest down or anything, but actually for the news thing right here, there's actually quite a bit going on. So first of all, I have this whole crazy fusion composition. My sister on a green screen. She did a fantastic job playing the news person. So I had to key her out, put her on this background, and then did all this crazy stuff here with a bunch of masks and text and lots of layers and scrolling and whatnot. This is all kind of new to me. I haven't done this sort of graphic work before. Put it all together and you end up with this. So anyhow, that was like the bulk of the visual effects, but I ended up rendering this out and then tracking it onto a TV. That was the only thing that I changed about Joshua's edit. He sent it with just this news thing and I really wanted it to be on a TV. So I filmed my TV and tracked this over it. But that was the only thing that I changed. The rest of this is all his edit. Let me know in the comments if you think it all meshed pretty well together or if it seemed kind of disjointed. I am very curious. This was a lot of experimenting for me, so yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think. Let's move on to the color grading. We shot this on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, and I'm not super familiar with running that camera, and so I messed up the ISO quite a bit. There's a lot of noise in most of these shots. One of them is really, really bad right here. Yeah, it's just really nasty. Lots of noise. I need to learn that camera a little bit better. I was depending too much on being able to change the ISO in post because we were shooting raw and it didn't work out. So little piece of wisdom, always get your settings right in camera. Don't rely on fixing it in post if you don't have to, because it will always be better if you just do it right the first time. That was the biggest struggle with the color grading, was trying to find a sweet spot with the ISO that wasn't too noisy, but it was still bright enough. And then I ended up using an adjustment clip for the grade just to back the saturation off on the skin tones. You can see the skin tones were just a little bit too saturated, I thought, for the rest of the scene. So I used this to just desaturate everything so I didn't have to go through and tweak every single grade. I'm sure there's a better way to do that, but I didn't know what it was, so I didn't. But aside from that, then I just had a very simple 2-node grade on all of these shots. Oh, it's not just a 2-node grade. Goodness, I have not looked at this for weeks and have already forgotten everything. This was my grade. Let's see what's going on here. We've got a curve here to bring the highlights down. Wow, that is quite an expression from Caleb. Let's find a better hero shot. Hey, there we go. We'll stick with that. We've got some curves going on there. This node, we've got contrast. This one pushes some blue into the shadows, and then this one adds a little bit of glow. So these are all just parallel nodes, which basically means they all affect the grade at the same time. Yeah, okay, so I guess that's the main grade. Dude, what was I thinking? This is so weird. So I guess all these are graded this way. I remember having trouble with this, so apparently my grades are not all the same. This one, it looks like, is just some contrast, and this one adds that glow. This is not super consistent. Yeah, and then like the lighting was changing as we got further on in the day. Like this shot is vastly different from this one. Not the greatest, but you know, it was a great learning project. All right, moving on from there. As far as sound design was concerned, there wasn't really a lot. I have this like air conditioner fan noise going through for the whole time they're in the RV. I always like to try to add some kind of ambience to my scenes to cover up the transitions between the like dialogue audio clips. Even if you put crossfades on all of them, you can hear those transitions. So having some kind of ambience, whether that's just like wind or birds chirping or water, depending on where your scene takes place, I like to add that in to just try to help smooth over those transitions. But that was pretty much it for the sound design, except for this weird electro swing type track for the credits, which I've gotten way too much mileage out of. It's hilarious. That's pretty much the whole edit. If you have any questions about this edit or DaVinci Resolve in general, I like making videos on Resolve. So yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything you want me to do a video on, and Lord willing, I will get around to it someday. All right, well, if you've made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. I know this video has probably kind of been a lot of me rambling on about stuff, but yeah, if you enjoy this kind of content, like the behind the scenes and whatnot, let me know in the comments down below. I enjoy making this kind of thing. I'd love to do more of it. I'm hoping to do some more short films this year. I don't have anything specific in the works. I do have some opportunities to collaborate and help other people with their projects, but I don't have any of my own projects in the works yet. So I want to write some stuff and I want to make some more short films, but as of now, I don't have anything in the works. Anyhow, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.